Hello and welcome back to London Cycle Routes. Today I'll be showing you how to cycle from Islington in North London to Whitechapel in East London. This ride takes just 18 minutes and you can do the whole thing on quiet streets and protected cycle lanes. By public transport, the same journey takes around half an hour and requires a change of line. So cycling is a really sensible way to make this trip. If you find this video useful or you just enjoy watching it, then please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as I try to post new videos just like it every week. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to everybody who supports the channel on Patreon. If you'd like to contribute too, then you can find a link in the description below the video. Alright, let's get going. So we're starting on Essex Road near Islington Green, and we're going to turn around and we're going to head straight down Packington Street. Packington Street is part of the St Peter's low traffic neighbourhood, which was put in by Islington Council in 2020, and as a result the streets around here are incredibly quiet. We're heading towards the Regent's Canal, and for the first part of this journey we're actually going to be following a signed TfL cycleway route called Cycleway 11. As you can see, C11 is painted on the floor at points, and there are also green and blue signs which help with wayfinding on some of the lampposts. The cycleway signage down this way is actually fairly recent, and I've actually been routing videos down here on this channel since before it was put in, so it's great to see TfL catch up. I think adding wayfinding to routes like this is a really good idea, as it helps more people figure them out and make the most of these low traffic streets, even if they're not avid London Cycle Routes viewers like I'm sure you are. We've now crossed into Hackney, and Hackney's own low traffic neighbourhood called Hoxton West, which links up nicely with the Islington one over that bridge. It's similarly quiet. One change since the last time I came down here is that the council has physically adapted the street layout to the lower traffic levels. Before, it actually had traffic lights at junctions and a lot of bare tarmac, but they've since added more greenery and planting, like the stuff that you can see just up here outside the pub. This is a great move by Hackney, and these sorts of interventions aren't just about cycling but are also about making streets like this nicer places to live and work and reprioritising people over cars. One thing I really like about this route is how various different interventions have connected up to basically make a great low traffic cycleway. We've already passed through 2 LTNs in 2 different boroughs, but now we've crossed City Road, we're actually back in Islington again. The borough boundaries are pretty weird around here, and we're benefiting from what's called the Bath Street reversal, which basically removed through traffic from this once quite busy street by flipping the direction of the one way for cars at one end. You might have noticed that we've more or less just been riding in a straight line since Islington, but we haven't actually hit any traffic at all, which I think is fantastic. I mean, I love segregated cycle lanes and protected cycle lanes, but having these almost entirely traffic-free streets right into the centre of London is also really fantastic for riding a bike on. We're turning off Cycleway 11 for now, but just a note to say that that straight line of low traffic streets will actually be extended even further south over the next couple of years, as the City of London is planning to remove through traffic from Bunhill Row, Moore Street and the top of Wood Street. So you'll basically be riding from Islington all the way to the Guildhall without any through traffic on the main carriageway. I'll definitely show that off in videos on the channel when it happens, so do hit the subscribe button on YouTube so that you're the first to see it when it does. There's actually another relatively recent intervention up ahead here. Hackney, yes, we're back in Hackney again, has closed this bit of Leonard Street off and turned it into a cycle track. That's had the nice effect of quietening down this little plaza on Paul Street. I'm not sure if it has a name, but as you can see, plenty of people were out there sitting out and enjoying it on a summer's day. Paul Street here is part of Cycleway 1, and although it's relatively quiet due to a few filters along its way, the main thing I would say is it really needs a resurface. It's a very popular cycle route, but it's really pockmarked and full of cracks and potholes, which makes it a rather bumpy ride. We're only on it for a second though, and we're actually going to turn off into Dysart Street here, which I don't think a lot of people know about, but I find a really handy cut through along with the streets we're about to go on to get from Cycleway 1 over towards Whitechapel. This bit of Finsbury Market here, which doesn't really look much like a market now, is pedestrianised. I think you're allowed to cycle through here. I haven't seen any no cycling signs, and it certainly looks wide enough to do so responsibly. It pops you over here within reach of Spitalfields Market, which is just around the corner and actually is still a market. Incidentally, that street Finsbury Market hasn't been a major market for some time. The 1852 edition of London Exhibited said that it was a market for the sale of provisions, but that it was even then now little in use. I can't find much else about it, but as you saw, it's now just a little passage next to some office blocks. I feel like more could be made of Spital Square here, by the way. It's currently a car park, which feels weird for such a central location next to a popular food market. You are allowed to cycle down Lamb Street here alongside the market, and there is a drop curb to assist you at both ends, but do remember that it's shared with pedestrians, so ride courteously and slowly. Coming up on the other side of Commercial Street is probably the weakest part of the route, and that is Hanbury Street. It's absolutely fine today, as you'll see, but it's not uncommon to see cars and vans, particularly when loading, doing weird manoeuvres. This street is actually one way without a cycle contraflow for a lot of its length, so if you're doing this in the opposite direction, you'll need to bypass that one-way section by using the parallel street, which is Princelet Street. One thing that stands out about Hanbury Street is that the pavements are absurdly narrow for such a vibrant place. You can see people struggling to fit on there. Really, the parking, which is mostly half empty today, should be removed along there, and the pavement should be widened and two-way cycling should be allowed on the main carriageway too. I would say it should be filtered as well, but we're now in the London Borough of Tower Hamlets, which is very pro-traffic on back streets and unlikely to try and remove it. Once you're past the shops, Hanbury Street does quieten down a lot thanks to a historic dead end here, which then turns into a little cycle track. You actually have two options to get over Valence Road at the end. You can either do what I do here and use the little recently renovated cycle crossing just here, or you can take the Toucan crossing to your left there and also cycle through the park on shared paths if you're taking it slow and want to avoid any chance of running into a car on this little alleyway. Either way, you turn right here down Castlemaine Street, and immediately you can tell from the fancy paving that this area has benefited from a bit of cash, and that's because it was reworked as part of the Crossrail or Elizabeth Line project. There's even a little bollard filter here keeping the street quiet. If you want to go down to Whitechapel Market on the main road, you can take any of the side streets or passages on the right that we went past, but we're just ending here at the rear entrance to Whitechapel Station. I have to say, I was pretty surprised at just how quickly this route took me to Whitechapel, as I always think of it as being quite far away from these other places, but since Crossrail work's finished, that area has really opened up around the station and the journey has got a lot easier. Thanks so much for watching that. Please do hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel, and if you enjoyed the video, do leave a like as well, as it really helps other people find it by boosting it in YouTube's algorithm. Do let me know what you think of the route in the comments. Hanbury Street is definitely the weakest bit and would be so easy to improve if the council cared. And thank you once again to everyone on the Patreon. I really appreciate your support, and if anyone else wants to throw money at me, then you can find a link to it in the description below the video, also along with a digital map of the route and the map of all the different London Cycle Routes videos. Thanks again for watching, and goodbye.